Warning, this video contains rumors, speculation, strong opinions, and
Welcome to my Joker movie review. My first movie review here on YouTube. And boy, I started with a great one. An amazing film. One of my favorite movies of all time. I know that right away, not only because of the movie itself, but because of the time it's released. What bold filmmaking for this generation. Why so serious? Why this serious? Maybe that's the reason that people have such a hard time watching this film. Do they want their fictional characters to be this serious? Why so serious? And then one of my favorite quotes of the film, a joke that he made, and this goes into spoiler territory, a joke that he never delivered live. I hope my death makes more sense than my life. What an amazing sentiment there. Because if you think about violence and how we react to violence in real life and in the news media, the sense that you make on death is a lot more than life in good stories. So maybe this is what people actually want deep down. They don't pay attention to you while you're alive. You're discarded, you're stepped over, especially when you talk about mental illness. So this is an important film for comic book characters, movies in general, and on the subject of mental illness. One of the last parts of society that people are still discarded, forgotten, and even in this, besides how you're treated in the public eye if you have mental illness, think about your own family. I'm recovering from a heavy loss in my family. I saw family members that I haven't seen in years. And honestly, I think that might be the last time I speak to some of them. Not on my part, but you could be treated as a black sheep in your own family just for your mental illness. You know what's so telling about this film in the public perception is that there's actually very small amounts of violence in the film. It's just that it's so grounded in reality. And that's why, in my personal opinion, it's more respectful to the subject matter than PG-13 movies where there's just bang, bang, kill, kill, dropping like flies humans. I think this is actually a more responsible way to handle violence in film. Don't make it music video, guns blazing, music pumping, dubstep, bodies going down, body counts. Focus on what it really is like. I don't think this glorifies violence at all. I think it shows how brutal and real it can be and the way people can just snap. To me personally, this goes beyond film. It goes as a statement to how people are treated in general. How you could be discarded and stepped over, turned away, avoided at all costs, ghosted. Oh, he's got some problems. She has some problems. But when does the public acknowledge your existence? When something bad happens. That's the major problem. Is look at the news media. You want to completely ignore this. There's lots of people that have problems mentally. if you avoid them and you only give them attention when something bad happens, you're part of the problem. That's how they get attention. Now, creating a study, a piece of art like this to examine it, I don't think it hurts anything. I think it helps. It helps raise questions how you treat people. I also don't like censorship, and I'm for freedom of speech. But the reason I'm for that is because I think speech holds great weight. And there are consequences to speech. Words can hurt. Goes back to a saying I like to say, rights versus respect. You have the right to do it, but do you respect that right? And do you respect the person enough to treat them like a human? Or is it just about your right to mock people? Especially with internet culture. This is a great... Now, this is a film in a different time. But it's a great way to examine how we treat people. And consider it how we treat people now. You think this problem's going away? Ignoring, blocking, muting, unfollowing people, avoiding them at all costs until something bad happens and then you can't tear your eyes away from the screen? It goes back to a basic level of what people want. You want to blame... Let's get real here. You want to blame games. You want to play violence in media, movies. Let's get down to the primal level here. Do humans really want to see good stories? Or what's trending? What's trending when something bad happens on Twitter, on the news? 24-hour news cycle of making money off of dead bodies and tragedy. But then this type of film is what you have an issue with when it examines how you got there. It's not 100%. It's just this film is such an interesting examination of human beings, what we're like on a primal level, and what people really do. The proof's in the pudding of what people actually watch. What gets the views? What gets the ad money on the news? What keeps news business in business is death, tragedy, and chaos. Not the good, fluffy stuff. What do you really care about? Now, that quote was a punchline in the movie, but it works on many levels because the reality is death certainly makes more sense than life. And that's also when people are given attention. With mental illness, the ones that are discarded by the public eye, by society, that's when they get attention. That's why there's a problem. And that's why what we do, our viewing habits, are part of the problem. I don't like to blame certain media, certain laws. I think in general we have a responsibility not to just discard these individuals, take away things that can help them. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say here, what this boils down to is this film examines what people do not want to talk about. The elephant in the room. Mental illness is everywhere. And you have to treat it with respect. You have to examine it. You have to look at it before it happens. The media for this film set the stage for something to happen. It almost seems like they're disappointed that nothing did. And honestly, if you look at this compared to the Heath Ledger Joker, I think if you're really going to put blame, and I don't blame any film, but I think the Heath Ledger Joker is more dangerous because it's violence and chaos without consequence or an examination of how he got there. I think this treats it with more respect. To give this Joker movie a score. My first official review on this channel. And all my reviews are going to be bought 100%. I buy the ticket. I'm never going to review a screener. I give it a 10 out of 10. This is an amazing moment for movies. It restored my hope in films in the theater. And it works on many levels. For the character, for comics, and for I think this should be treated as a film where mental health professionals look at it to examine it. It should be in colleges everywhere. The performance is masterclass from Joaquin Phoenix. Todd Phillips is also working on another level. Every scene, I don't think there's a wasted scene. I couldn't even blink. I was that drawn into the film. Every moment was powerful. I want to see it again. I honestly do not know how you go back from this to just a regular superhero film with cheesy, outdated CG to save on special effects in the Disney Marvel joke humor. It's going to be hard for me. I still enjoy those films, but after seeing it, like seeing this next to Birds of Prey, forget about it. It's a different level. What Martin Scorsese said about Marvel films recently, I don't think you can put that to this film. This should be the start. This is what Warner Brothers needs to do. Just do a Batman movie universe and keep it in this time frame and have Todd Phillips helmet. I know they're doing the Matt Reeves trilogy. This should be the start of the Batman movie universe. There's consequences with all these things. It needs examination. That's all my thoughts on this one. I just love everything about it. The camera angles, the filming, the editing, the music. Everything really got me. It also, with the subject matter of mental illness, there are certain things in there that really touched home for me with a family history of it. I visited my grandmother in a psychiatric ward, and most of my childhood with my father. And you know about me, but I'm not getting into that here. And I also want to remind you, if your movie madness has gone too far, reach out and speak to someone. Here's a spoiler for the movie. It also treats it with respect, not to just say, you know what, he's had mental illness and that's the reason he did it. No, he has mental illness, but he couldn't take his medicine, and all the public-funded programs for him were stopped. He was discarded from his job. His family abandoned him. It's not an excuse, but it's worth looking into. So it doesn't just give it as that's what I respect about it. It doesn't just treat mental illness like as an excuse for things to happen. There's multiple steps to how it got this far. That's my thoughts on this one. Tell me if you want to see another movie review, and smash the hell out of the like button and join this madness. See ya.